What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, back with some more boxing. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but for the new subscribers, or in case you missed that past video, I'm going to talk about it again. Plus, it's some current things I want to address, and that's regarding Top Rank and its limited roster. Now, the problem with this is I have no problem with Top Rank as a company, a business, an entity. Bob Arum, I don't know him, anything like that. However, on my channel, I'm always going to give it to you real and my honest, uncut thoughts. And I've noticed this for a while. Top Rank, especially in certain divisions like 140, 147, they don't really have many variety of ways that you can mix and match. You got probably the biggest names on your imprint at 140 or 147. You got Mike Alvarado, Brandon Rios, Juan Manuel Marquez. You got Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley, who just signed an extension in the Pacquiao negotiations. So pretty much the biggest stars on your label, barring Mikey Garcia and up and comers like Felix Verdejo or some, and he's not. I mean, he's not clearly going to be surpass any of the guys I listed because he's new and he's new to the pro ranks. Um, the problem is their label is just diminishing and diminishing, and how that affects the fights is you get fights that really hold no weight. They don't really, there's no end result, so to speak. And what I mean by that is whoever wins, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really do anything for their career. And that's what they're trying to do and give us right now. And that's Juan Manuel Marquez versus Mike Alvarado. To me, it's not a horrible fight stylistically, but it's a fight that really doesn't mean a damn. It's not worth a damn. What happens? You got Mike Alvarado, who's coming up for crushing loss to Ruslan Provodnikov. He was stopped. And you have Marquez also coming off of a loss, and he was thoroughly outboxed. He should have had all the confidence in the world going into the Timothy Bradley fight. He knew he was the bigger puncher. He had just knocked Pacquiao out, his age-old nemesis, and he got thoroughly outboxed by Timothy Bradley. So you got two losers who are going to potentially fight this summer. Not losers in terms of them as people, so just so people don't leave stupid comments. I'm talking about two people coming off of losses, and they potentially might fight in May or June or in the summertime. To me, again, stylistically, it's not a horrible fight, but what does it mean? What's the end result? What happens if Mike Alvarado beats a 40-year-old Marquez that already lost to Timothy Bradley? I mean, does that put him back? Are you going to say he's pound for pound top 10 now? You know what I mean? What if Marquez beats Alvarado, who just got destroyed by Ruslan Provodnikov in the mid to late rounds? What does that do for Marquez's legacy? Can you say he's surpasses Chavez Sr. as the greatest Mexican ever because he beat Mike Alvarado, who just came off a loss? No, you can't really say that. So I'm not talking about it being a boring fight or a bad fight. It's just a fight that doesn't really mean anything, in my opinion. And sometimes you have them make these alphabet belts. They'll have like a special belt for the occasion. That's about all you could do for this fight. Plus, I don't know what weight this fight would take place at. Possibly a catch weight, 144, 145. Alvarado last fought at 140. Obviously, Marquez has been fighting at 147. He fought Pacquiao there twice, and then he fought Timothy Bradley there. So, possibly a catch weight. But I just don't really like the fight. I don't think it means much. And I think you're going to get a lot of that from Top Rank because it's not like a star is born every minute, every day, every second. So it takes time to groom those Nonito Donairs. Nonito Donaire was on an incredible win streak. And then he was getting constantly promoted and pushed by his network. And he was getting a lot of press from just online and stuff like that. And he became the entity and the brand that he is today. But they don't really have anyone that they can really mix and match with these guys. So they're forced to make these matches that don't really make sense, that really there is no winner, in my opinion, or recycled rematches. Now, as far as Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley 2, that's a rematch that absolutely needs to happen. And it's clear it needs to happen because there was controversy in the first fight. And I think both fighters have learned and went through different things since their first fight. Pacquiao got knocked out, then he proved to the world he wasn't a zombie, he wasn't dead from the Marquez knocked out. knockout, and he thoroughly outclassed Brandon Rios for 12 rounds, even knocking him down in one round. And then Timothy Bradley went life or death with Ruslan Provodnikov. He outboxed the shit out of Marquez. He dealt with the public outcry and the backlash and hate mail from the Pacquiao win. So I think the evolution of both fighters is one thing. Plus, there was controversy in the decision. Some people say Bradley won and Pacquiao was fighting in spurts. It wasn't fighting full rounds, so they gave the rounds to Bradley. Some people said Bradley was getting destroyed by Pacquiao. So it's absolutely a fight that needs to happen. I'm 100% okay with this particular fight. However, when you try to throw in other fights into the mix like Alvarado and Marquez, what does it really mean? What is the need for that fight? Like I said, I'm not hating on it. I would watch it. It could be an entertaining fight, but I just don't see it as serving a purpose. Now, you could look at Golden Boy and say Canelo's doing the same thing. Two fighters coming off of losses. Canelo's coming off a loss to Mayweather, and then so is Angulo to Erislandy Lara. However, it's a little bit different. Different for this simple reason. One, Canelo lost to someone who's arguably the best fighter on the planet, the number one pound for pound guy, Floyd Mayweather, at the tender age of 22 or 23 or whatever age he was. So it was kind of an expected loss for a lot of people, unless you're a die-hard Canelo fan or something. And then same thing with Angulo. Angulo was beating the brakes off of Erislandy Lara, and Lara was just remaining consistent, stayed really composed, and was able to bust his eye up to the point where he had a forfeit and the ref waved it off. And it was a loss. A loss is a loss is a loss. But Angulo held a good account of himself in that fight. And a lot of people, it's not really fair, but a lot of people would suggest that if the fight were to keep going, it looked like the flow was leaning towards Angulo stopping Erislandy Lara. We don't know if that would have happened because it didn't happen. But it's not a bad loss. And besides that, even if Canelo didn't fight Angulo, he still had other options of fighters coming off of wins. And that's the thing. You have options. He could have fought Carlos Molina, who just beat Ishe Smith and has a belt. They were trying to make that fight. So that would be a person coming off a loss and a person coming off a win. They could have pit him against Erislandy Lara, another fighter coming off a win. Erislandy Lara looks superb against Austin Trout. But point being, they have different avenues in which they can go. They're also trying to make a Vic Ortiz fight with Canelo. Vic Ortiz obviously didn't have a good showing with Luis Collazo, so that's probably out the window. But that was a potential avenue they could explore. Have Vic Ortiz move up. And they even talked about Marcos Maidana moving up to fight Canelo at one point. Marcos Maidana tweeted, I did a video about this way back when last year, and he was like, I'll fight Canelo. So they have different options. Keith Thurman has fought at 154 before. They have options. But if you look at Top Rank, they don't really have that option. Pacquiao, aside from Brandon Rios rematch, a fight with Mike Alvarado, a Marquez rematch, or a Tim Bradley rematch, what is a legit fight that can be made using no other promotional company but Top Rank? Jesse Vargas, maybe a Randall Bailey, Mike Jones, who got knocked out by Randall Bailey and disappeared off the face of the fucking earth. You know what I mean? It's not the same. They don't really have, like, they can't even reach and pick up. Like, to me, Canelo fighting Marcos Maidana is kind of reaching. I think there's other people in line where a fight with Canelo should happen with Erislandy Lara before Marcos Maidana even comes into the picture. But that's a reaching option, and it's still a viable option. Marcos Maidana's tough. He's never been stopped. He has punching power. Maybe his power can carry up. So that's reaching, but it's still an option that's somewhat feasible. But if you look at Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas, that's feasible, but you know off top that is not going to sell. That's not a fight that's just going to generate the public's interest. Jesse Vargas fought Lucky Boy, and that shit didn't even, you know what I mean? Like, some people probably never even seen that fight. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about. It's not a bashing session. I'm not here to bash Top Rank. I'm just letting you know the harsh realities of what it is. Bradley, Pacquiao, perfectly okay to have a rematch given the circumstance, the evolution of both fighters, and what took place and transpired in the first fight. As far as Alvarado and Marquez, I think it's a fight that really holds no weight. and that's ultimately what Top Rank is faced with. They have to try to use these Twitter beefs and Twitter wars, and the like I have my segment on my channel, Egos Fighting Words. They got to use those types of comments and those types of segments to fuel and try to push these types of fights. Like, oh, you hear what Ruslan said to him on Twitter, and Brandon Rios responded. You know what I mean? So that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Top Rank, are they running out of options? Is there something I may have overlooked, an option that you see that Pacquiao could fight if he wins, or if Bradley wins? Who are they going to fight? I think it's all going to be a rematch, because that's just what it is. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next videos, Ego signing off.